Do you have a Google Ad Grant account and you are struggling or confused on how to get the most out of that? You are not alone. We work with hundreds of nonprofits that have trusted ReachRight to get the most out of their Google Grant account and manage that ongoing for them. Our team has put together 23 tips to optimize a Google Grant account. So let's get started. If you aren't familiar with the Google Grant yet and you are a nonprofit, make sure to pop over to our website and check out the eligibility checker. It will be a pretty quick quiz to see if your nonprofit is eligible for the Google Grant. That'll be the first step if you have no idea what we're talking about here, or if you've just been getting started and you are starting to look into what the Google Grant is. Tip number one, you're gonna wanna create specific campaigns for different goals. Multiple campaigns in an account, that is really where you set your budget in a campaign. So you will want to have more than one campaign if you are targeting different goals. So fundraising might be one campaign where you can target a really broad audience, and local things for another campaign where you might be doing geo-targeting to focus on something local. So having multiple campaigns in an account is important for those different aspects as far as distinct goals within your account. Tip number two, you are gonna wanna ensure that you have proper campaign tracking. Tracking is something that is gonna help you and Google optimize and figure out what your account goals are. So if you're trying to gain newsletter signups, if you want more donors, for instance, if you want prayer form submissions, contact form submissions, you're gonna wanna track those things. If you're not tracking those things, it's gonna be really hard to figure out, is this Google Grant account and the ads that you have set up, are they producing anything tangible for your nonprofit? Easiest way to do that is setting up a Google Analytics account. There are ways to get into coding and UTMs to really make sure that ads that are being sent to your website, to certain landing pages, are tracking proper things with the forms that you have on your site. So tracking conversions is gonna be pretty important just to make sure validity of everything you're doing is worth it. Tip number three, you wanna promote timely content. Let's say we've got some holiday events or just a conference that you're promoting, a gala that you have. You'll wanna make sure that you promote your ads well in advance. You don't want to be setting up an ad campaign for a fundraising event the week before the event actually happens. You're going to really want to look at that 4 to 6 weeks in advance at the minimum to really get the most out of that one ad or the few ad groups that you have going on for that event. That really makes sure that it has enough times to push out there for you to do enough keyword research or do some A/B testing as far as those ads are going while prior to the event. Tip number four, you'll want to make sure that you test your ad variations regularly. You don't want to just make one ad in an ad group and let that roll. You really want to make sure that you're making multiple ads within an ad group. That way you can do some testing. Maybe some headlines aren't going to be as attractive as others. So you can make one specific ad using all the same keywords in that ad group, but the ad headline and copy is going to look very different. It also helps Google also, do some testing with your ad variations as well. One ad that you think may look or feel like how you want it to go may not actually perform as well as the other one that you make. So it's always nice to have that variation so that you can make sure you're testing those headlines. You'll want to use different calls to action in those ad variations. So donate now, volunteer with us, join us today. Make sure that you're not just repeating ad after ad and doing the same thing, because then there's really no quality testing going on. It needs to be pretty different. The descriptions that you use should be completely different from ad to ad so that you can really get a good idea of which ad Google likes better and which ad the target audience likes better. Tip number 5, utilize geo-targeting. This is gonna be important if your nonprofit is a brick and mortar business. Now, if you're an online nonprofit and you don't actually have a local office or somewhere where someone's going to come in to do that service, then that's not going to necessarily be as important like if you're targeting your entire state or even the entire USA for donations or visibility. But if you are a brick and mortar business, then you will want to use geo-targeting, meaning we want to make sure that we're not targeting the entire state if we're not wanting to reach all of that area. If we're really trying to hone into, hey, we want to get volunteers on the ground at our soup kitchen, then we're not going to want to target 60 miles past where our actual location is. We're going to want to stay pretty close and make a radius around that. So geo-targeting can be pretty important based on what your goals are within your account. Tip number 6, you're going to want to leverage all of your ad extensions. Google does have extensions within an account. So there are site links, there are call outs, there are structured snippets and call extensions. There are image extensions in an account. That is where you can put your organization's logo or some photos that will really show who you are, what your brand is. You'll want to make sure that you really take advantage of these extensions because this adds assets to an ad. So you're adding on top of only just having headlines and descriptions, you're actually getting those assets at the bottom so people can click onto different areas of your website. Site links just add a little extra to your account, amenities or things that should set you apart from another nonprofit organization. Call outs are the same way. They're just adding a little bit of extra oomph to your account. So this is an example of ads that are rotating around. These are site links down here. So these are just extra buttons. So if someone doesn't click on the intended page that I wanted, which would be the home page, then I can also send them to other important pages around the website. Call extension is also shown here, so that gives the phone number. So if I'm on a mobile device, I can click that and make a phone call pretty quickly. Call outs are going to be down here. So it just adds, like I said, extra content into that ad versus only having a few headlines and your few description variables. Tip number 7, you're going to want to build out highly relevant ad groups. Now, ad groups is, again, the way that we organize ads. That is where your keywords go into play. So think about it as if you're making kind of like a brainstorm or a flow chart. Each ad group is where you're focusing on a different content area on your website. So you'd potentially have one for volunteers. You'd have another ad group for donations. You might have another one for an online store. All of those ad groups, again, are where you put your keywords to target those various areas that you want to promote. So making sure that you have relevant ad groups with closely related keywords. So each ad group should have at least 5 to 10 keywords within it. The more keywords you have, of course, the better quality ad you might have because we're gathering more search terms there. But you do want to make sure that if you're pretty specific on the audience that you're trying to reach, that you don't use too generic of keywords because you might get some trash clicks or non-relevant clicks, traffic sent your way. So making sure that you use good quality keywords based on your landing page content and the type of audience that you're looking to attract is going to be super important. All right, tip number 8, writing compelling ad copy. Using strong calls to action like donate now, get involved, join us today. Again, that's super important because it is going to highlight the unique aspects of your nonprofit's mission. We don't want that to get hidden. We don't want to have people question, oh, what's this ad really about? You really want to say, here's my big action item, hoping that the click comes from that. So making sure that your ad copy is relevant and very compelling is going to drive better quality traffic your way. Number 9, optimizing landing pages. This is probably one of the most important tips here. Landing pages are where your traffic is being sent from the ad to your website page. A lot of times if we see landing pages that don't have calls to action, they don't even have really good content, you're really gonna struggle to, number 1, have good quality ads being promoted to get triggered. You're gonna lose impression rates that way. So when the landing page matches the keywords that you're using, the major audience that you're trying to attract, that's going to be great. You want to make sure that your landing page is relevant to what you're trying to do, that it's fast loading. Make sure you don't have a lot of elements on there that are either out of date or too slow, like banners or sliders that don't load quick enough. That's going to be a ding on that. And you want to, of course, make sure they're mobile friendly. Now, I feel like a lot of websites these days, if they are desktop friendly, they're automatically mobile friendly, but I have seen several websites where that's not the case. So you do want to make sure that your landing pages look just as well on a mobile device as they do on desktop. They should be directly reflecting the ad's message. Purpose being, if someone is searching for a certain topic and they click on your ad and then get to a landing page that has zero content or content that doesn't even reflect the keywords or search terms that they were looking for, you're going to have a high bounce rate and you're going to have a mismatch. So Google's going to kind of see that. So you want to make sure that the landing page that you send people to contains the ad quality or ad traffic that you want. All right, tip number 10, we're gonna wanna take advantage of Google's keyword insertion. Using dynamic keyword insertion or DKI, it does automatically insert the user search query into your ad text. So that obviously does make it pretty relevant. What does that mean? Let's show you what that looks like in an actual ad. That is using the brackets. So we're using the content learn more, but what that's gonna do is no matter what the search content was, it kind of adds their keyword in instead. So when they go and see an ad, the search query that the user wants to see is actually inserted based on the keywords that you have in the account. So that can be super helpful, taking advantage of that tool within the account. Tip number 11, we're gonna monitor keyword search terms. You're gonna wanna review the search term report, which is in the account. That's going to make sure that the search terms that you have are actually doing what you think they are doing. So that's under the campaigns, insights, and reports, and there are search terms. So what this is going to actually show somebody is what match type you have, the search term, and the search term keyword that's actually being used by the searcher. So you can kind of see what are people searching and making sure that that matches what you have in the account. So it does kind of take the keyword itself and give you the match as far as what the keyword is that the user is using based upon if you have an exact match, a phrase match, or a broad match keyword term. Using the search term report here can also let you look and see which ones are performing. Do you have some that are obviously getting more impressions and clicks than others? And are we getting some junk clicks that we need to maybe make a negative keyword? All right, number 12, you're gonna want to use call to action phrases in your headline. So again, making sure that you're really calling those out as far as join us today, buy now, donate now, partner with us. Those call to actions headlines are attention grabber, they get more visibility, and it's an action word. We're telling people what we're wanting them to do, so those usually have more relevancy than just generic, using other generic search terms in there. All right, number 13, you're gonna wanna promote key content within specific campaigns. So we wanna make sure that we highlight important content. If you have blog posts, if you have success stories that drive traffic and engagement. So making sure that we're promoting that content via the ad into your website can really help build that relationship that we're trying to get with people. Most people are not just going to donate to your organization the first time they visit your website, but if they were looking for things online and they happen to land on a blog post page or a success story, that really does kind of tell the story of your nonprofit and who you're trying to attract and your mission statement. So if people get on board with that, they are going to be more successful as far as partnering with you potentially, or doing that end goal of whatever your organization was asking for. All right, tip number 14, you're gonna wanna leverage the keyword planner within the account. That's a really awesome tool that our team likes to use that can show you new opportunities for growth. It shows you kind of what research the market is for certain keyword terms. So whether that's a really high volume keyword, a really low volume keyword, what's the competition for that? What are the keyword gaps there? So you're gonna pop over into the tools setting of your account and go into the keyword planner. So with this, you can discover new keywords because you can either enter keywords that are related to your nonprofit or organization individually, or you can even put your whole website in here. So you can put a whole website in, it will then scan and kind of determine what your website might be about, and then it's gonna give you some results. So for instance, here, we're going to enter the entire website. We're gonna click get results. So it will kind of show us some keywords here. It'll tell us the average monthly search for that term. The competition level, is it pretty low to compete with this? Is it pretty high? You really want to target those low competition keywords. Obviously the higher ones have more competition, so they will be a little harder to pull in for the grant accounts. And then it will tell you if you already have them in your account or not. So the ones that you would look at, of course, if you don't have them in your account, you can highlight those and add them directly into your account. But this is Google's research on itself, so that can be extremely helpful. All right, tip number 15, we're gonna wanna use broad match modifiers sparingly. So while broad match is a really great thing, it brings in generic traffic because the intent of the search, someone is not having to type in exactly what our keyword phrase is. Remember with the grant, you can't use single word keywords. So we have to use either long tail phrases or double worded keywords. If we can't use single word keywords, we also don't want to be too generic and only use broad match. The difference between exact phrase and broad match keywords is that the person who is typing, either they have to exactly type in what they're looking for and it has to match our exact phrase. Phrase match means that it could be a portion of what they're looking for, and then broad match means anything in there or relatively close. So you can see how broad match might get you a lot of generic traffic, but once you start looking at that keyword research, as far as the search terms in your account, broad match, if you're getting a lot of clicks for something, you might want to change that to a phrase match. It just kind of helps hone in things a little bit more. So you got to kind of keep an eye on things after you get them set. Number 16, another really nice tool in your Google Grant account is that you can set up automated email alerts about account issues. So if you've got any alerts that you need to know about, you have a major drop in CTR, your conversions are no longer tracking, you can actually change your settings in the account to be alerted when those things happen in case you're not in your account as often as you should be. So for that, you would be going into your administrative button here. You've got notifications, and then you can make the change on what do you want emails for. Do you want emails for everything? Do you want emails for only critical things? But that's something that you want to keep an eye on, because if you're not going into your account on a regular basis, there are going to be things that are going to be happening that you're not going to be aware of. So making sure that if anything major is occurring, any alerts that you have, notifications that you need to be taken care of, you can set those to automatically send you those. All right, tip number 17, you're going to want to analyze your bounce rate from your ad traffic. Using tools in your Google Analytics account, which you should already have because we're also wanting to track conversions, and having Google Analytics is also pretty important just for generic website traffic, right? You can kind of see where your sources are that you receive traffic, but bounce rate's pretty important. That means that how long is somebody staying on your website once they get there from a certain source. So it'll kind of track, were people inactive? Did they get on your website and stay for 2 seconds and then leave? Or did they actually engage and go deeper into the site, which is what you want? So actually looking at your bounce rate through your Google Analytics account is going to be pretty important just to make sure that your ad relevancy is okay. I'd say if you got in there and you noticed your bounce rate was pretty high, then you would want to take a look at, is it my ads? Is it my keywords? Are they too generic and people aren't finding what they thought they were going to on my website? Or potentially, am I sending them to the wrong page? Is the landing page that you've sent them to just not the best one for the ad that they saw? And you might just need to go make some changes there. So bounce rate's pretty important just to make sure your ad traffic is where you want it to be. All right, tip number 18, focus on quality score. Again, in this ads account, Google is your helper. Google wants you to succeed. So it does have a lot of tools that are really good for these accounts. So quality score, it actually rates like a 1 out of 10 scale range for how the keyword is performing for you. So within your ads account, under your campaigns, in your search keywords, once your ads have been running for a while and you actually have some traffic so that Google can give you some feedback, you'll see here is the keyword, here's all the clicks and impressions, but your quality score is here. So as you can see here, the quality score is the estimate of how relevant your ads, keywords, and landing page are to the person who sees the ad. So quality score here, 7 out of 10, 5 out of 10, 10 out of 10, and you'll see that this landing page is above average. So that's why that keyword is going to perform better, because when all of those aspects of keyword, ad group, landing page, we know that we're sending them to the right spot, and that ad's going to do a lot better because the person is who's searching for whatever topic that we're trying to get them to look at our stuff, they're going to be sent to the right page, and we can feel pretty confident about that. So After your ads and keywords run for a little while, make sure you hop in here and check your quality scores on your keywords. That way you can make some adjustments too and pause some of the ones that are poorly performing, or get back with your website and check out those pages where you're sending me. If you have below average pages, let's get those fixed. All right, number 19, you are going to want to ensure that you are within compliance of the CTR. CTR at 5% can be pretty difficult to get. That's why you want to make sure that your keywords are relevant to what you are advertising for and that we're not being too broad or generic. You need to really look at underperforming keywords and quality score and get those out of there to make sure that we're not below that threshold. Just make sure that you stay in compliance. There are a few rules and regulations as far as, hey, if you don't have a few conversions a month and a 5% CTR, your grant is in potential danger of getting paused or deactivated. So make sure that month by month over time that of course you're above that threshold. All right, tip number 20 is to incorporate people also ask phrases as keywords. You can go to Google and search for anything. I Googled military support for family. So if this was a nonprofit's goal or mission, you'll see here that, okay, I see an organic search result here, but then right below, this is an example of the people also ask. So can the military support a family? What is military family support services? What family members get military benefits? So because this is people also ask, this means this is some high quality, high trafficked volume that goes along with my search term. So I potentially either could write some content on my website about these areas, maybe a blog, maybe just have another section on my landing page that talked about if someone's looking for military support, what does that mean for my organization, but also what does that mean in general? So kind of using the people also ask, again, it's gonna really help drive you to know this is a hot searched topic, or here's some other questions that I need to go a little bit deeper in, and that will help your ads rank better as well. So check out the people also ask and do some research that way. Number 21 is compliance assurance. Again, they have strict policies. So it's not just on the CTR, it's not just on the quality score. You really want to make sure that you're getting in there and checking all of the notifications and looking at all of the recommendations that Google gives. Again, they really do want to help. So you can get into that recommendations tab. They'll constantly have things that they're asking you to do. Do you want to add image extensions if you didn't have those available before? Do you want to add dynamic images if you didn't have those before? It'll recommend that you get rid of keywords that it can tell are not serving your account well. So get in this tab quite often. Make sure you're looking at that. Now, some of the recommendations may not apply to you or may not apply to your account. So just ignore them or say that they're not relevant to you. But it's a really good idea to just review all of those things and make sure that you are within compliance so that your account doesn't get flagged or suspended. All right, number 22, you'll want to test different calls to action. Because the call to action is the action item that we're asking people to do, we want to make sure that we cover all ground as far as what our goals are. If we're wanting to get donations, we're not just going to say give now, donate now. You might want to use other terms like partner with us, support our mission, things like that. And you can just kind of see based on those two ads with your A/B testing, which ones performed better. So always make sure to give those different tests a try so that you can check out performance. All right, last but not least, number 23, partner with a Google Ad Grant certified professional like us. If you kind of are in here and you've tried some of these things, or this is way over your head, or you just think that I want to be hands off and I'd rather let a professional take this over. Obviously, being a certified Google Grant professional, we've gone through training. We know the rules and regulations. We know what to look for. We are doing all of these things in every account on an ongoing basis to make your account grow as much as we can and to make sure that we're reaching the audience that you guys want to reach. So partner with a professional. That's one of the most effective ways to get the most out of your ad grant. I hope this video was super helpful. We do put out content like this on a weekly basis. So if this was beneficial for your organization, please subscribe and like so that you can get alerted to our fresh content that we do push out constantly.